Latest episode of Liar Liar came out, and I will say this episode is a lot better than last week's. It actually mattered. So on this one, our hero had to play a game where he had in a 3D space, basically by the levels of the school, of like one of the school buildings. They had to hide someone, and then by hiding that someone, they had to then ask questions to the other person and then find out where the other person's partner is located at. So it sounds complicated, and it was a little complicated when they were trying to explain the beginning of the episode, to the point that's like you just kind of just had to sit back and like but I've learned my lesson. No longer am I going to sit here and try to pause to be like, okay, let me get every little nook and cranny of this game down, okay? And so then that way, maybe it's something I can solve and I can see the twist coming. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. With the fact that this show has the outlier, which is abilities. So I don't think I've explained this before, but with each game, the person's able to use 3 different abilities from a set pool. And of course, depending on how many stars you have, means how good of a grade your abilities are. Well, Little Devil had 3 cheating abilities that she got illegally. And while our hero, he has the abilities, but sometimes they explain what the abilities are, and sometimes they're like, they don't explain the abilities, and sometimes he cheats and says he has abilities that he doesn't actually have, and then he uses a different ability. The whole ability system is what throws a curveball in a lot of this, because as soon as you learn, oh, this is what this game is. Oh, okay, I've heard of that. Oh, this won't be that hard. Oh, you can win by doing this. Some weird ability comes up that someone's doing that is just like, well, there's no way for me to track that. And that's where the outlier in this anime is, to where it's like these abilities can just come out of nowhere, just pulled out of a hat. Be like, hey, did you know about this ability? No. Oh, well, I just found out about it. And even though this pool of abilities is known to everyone, our hero doesn't know about it. So you can't really follow along, is my point, as much as you would think you can. And maybe No Game No Life was better in that aspect, that even though, yes, there were games and yes, there were cheating with No Game No Life, you could understand what was going on and how the cheat was kind of done a little bit. And while this one, it's just more for entertainment, sitting back and like, okay, all right, what's the game? All right, oh, that sounds tough. How is he going to outdo it this go around? Now, of course, in this one, you don't need to know the classes and or levels and or, you know, the letters and floors and stuff like that. I'm learning with Liar Liar, you just kind of have to somewhat turn your brain off, because if you try to literally try to outsmart things and try to outsmart like, okay, maybe there's some way I can do it, like it's a big mystery, it's not gonna work out like that. Right now, I've been kind of watching this as, at first I was glued in, I was tied in, like, okay, this is how it's gonna be done. Now I'm learning, okay, sit back, relax, and watch the train wreck and see how is this puzzle going to be solved. So of course in this one, Shinohara looks like he's winning. He looks like he's won. He's found the maid and he's found the treasure. But for whatever reason, Little Devil pulls up an illegal ability that says called Altered Fate, that essentially just subtracts the fact that, yeah, that answer you gave that would have won you the game and you did win, yeah, that never happened. So guess what? I won. But then in this one, they had to do some trickery, and even though he won, she won, but then even though she won, she didn't win because she ended up playing someone else, because he used that pitch hitter card that we briefly talked about last week. Yeah, I knew it was gonna be brought up at some point. Didn't know it would be brought up this soon. Now, I'll be honest, the whole episode was basically the game. Now, I will say, like I said before, the game was more interesting than last week's and actually made a difference. We essentially learned, because of him beating Little Devil, more information about our main villain. Now, this guy, Hirohashi, which we have seen his image on the opening. He is the one that pulled the strings of Little Devil, that basically gave her illegal powers that she shouldn't have to try to win her games and such, just to beat Shinohara, MC. End of the episode was him interrogating her, and he just basically treats Little Devil with kindness because she was afraid that she wouldn't stick out, and he, the enemy, basically was saying, oh, I can promise so much to you. That's it. I mean, there really wasn't much to this episode. Now, granted, like I said, it's better than last week. It does feel like it's actually going an upward trend. They didn't even talk about the Green Star, whether or not if he won it, and which I hope he did. And if he did win it, how is it going to manifest for him? We shall see. But honestly, that was it for this episode. I apologize if the analysis is a little short. The biggest thing was there was a game. The game was somewhat interesting. And then we learned about the villain when Little Devil gets defeated. So my speculation, of course, is that the Little Devil is in the theme song and even the outro. She's closer to our MC. So I have the feeling that right after the next week's episode is going to take off right after this. And maybe she becomes a part of the team. Maybe he even fills her in about his secret. I don't know. But right now I'm on the outside looking in, and I'm hoping that, I feel like the anime is still going to get better. I can see where this type of anime probably will put some people off, because even though they're games, a lot of the rules for these games might be off-putting for some people because it can be a little complicated sometimes. And I don't know if they do a good job of translating it that well for all ages, all people, you know, whether it's kids watching this anime, adults. It can be a little complicated, but we'll see what happens next week. Definitely let me know if you guys agree with me in the comments down below, but make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys are subscribed. I will definitely, Lord willing, see you once again in the future. Until then, take care. Bye-bye for now. Make sure to check out the extra content on our Patreon page, and thanks to our current patrons.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.